Everybody, it's vanburman here. Welcome back to the penultimate episode of Steam Deck Unsupported games. So I think this is part 7, which is quite good actually, because we're going to kick off with Tekken 7 on the Steam Deck. Now I had heard reports that it is working, so I was feeling quite optimistic. I went in to make some changes to the settings, so I ran it at medium with a 90% resolution scale in the end, I believe, just to try and give it a bit more of a push towards 60 FPS, because, you know, fighting games, I feel as though, and I'm sure people will agree, I feel as though they need to run as close to 60, or, well, yeah, steady, but as close to 60 as possible to make it worthwhile. So I decided to play through the arcade mode with Paul, and I had a bit of an issue the first time round where my controller stopped working. The controller on the Steam Deck, I should say. And I managed to get through to Hayachi the only way I could get out of it was by quitting the game, going back to desktop. So I then came back in, had a few fights. I mean, there is still spikes, unfortunately, in the frame rate. This is probably actually one of the worst games for the stuttering and performance hit that I've come across so far. Now, it might be a case there's still some optimization to go, which is possible, seeing as it's down as unsupported, or there maybe medium isn't possible, and we need to go down to low with a resolution scale to be able to actually fully, get the 60 FPS out of it. So if there is audio, I think there might be slight audio issues, but I turned the audio down anyway. But that's not from the game on the Steam Deck. Once again, I think it's my capture card. I don't know. I can't tell. But there's something that doesn't like something else in the HDMI audio space. So I got... Well, you're about to see an example of the issue that I faced, and although you can't actually see what I'm doing because I'm there bashing the buttons, of course, but once I get through to actually fighting in the third round against Hayachi, I couldn't move, so I ended up on the floor. I couldn't get back up. I couldn't press any fighting buttons. My actual Steam Deck buttons were working, in terms of pressing the Steam button and the 3-dotted button, whatever that one is, like options menu, I suppose. But none of the actual commands for the game would work. So yeah, there you go. I'm stood there unable to do anything, and but I can get into the Steam stuff. So I'm not sure why that's happened. It's happened twice now, and with a reset and everything else. I even tried changing the controller scheme, of course, and I did that before on the last time. But yeah, this one just wouldn't have it at all. So it's really disappointing, actually, that I can't recommend Tekken 7 at all, because while it has this issue, it is unplayable, quite frankly. So, well, I'll carry on, as soon as I've spoken for the whole 2 minutes on that one, but we'll go on to Mordhau, which is also down as unsupported, obviously all down as unsupported, but I figured that this might be something to have done with the anti-cheat, so I didn't have a look beforehand, and I don't believe it is, because I was able to get into an online game and able to do the normal Mordhau thing of fighting people, I guess, and everything seemed perfectly fine. I probably would, if I was going to play it properly, have a bit more of a tweak with the graphical settings. Not that the ones out of the box are particularly bad or not functioning, but I moved textures and stuff down to medium from high, which I thought would be best. But like I say, if it was something that I was going to do a performance test on or anything like that, I probably would have a fine play with the options, just to tune it to the best possible thing I could. So, oh yeah, that's the other thing I remember. So we did have an issue with it saying here that there's an issue with one of the pack files, and I needed to verify the game files for Steam and reset the game. So that's exactly what I did. I went in, verified the game files. We got back into the game, and I don't know if it actually downloaded it. I think I just left it to verify and then left the Steam Deck, because obviously that can sometimes take a while to do. And then from then it worked fine. I didn't see this one again. So I guess if someone booted up for the first time, they might think that there's nothing, that it just doesn't work. And I think that's what I thought. because I'd literally freshly downloaded it, and then it's telling me that I need to verify the game files, which isn't the best in the world. Well, it's not the best. Well, yeah, it shouldn't happen. You know, you would then think that, oh well, this must work, you know, or it either works or it doesn't at that point. So yeah, maybe that's something that maybe it needs a bit of a kick to download the right type of file. Honestly, I don't know. I've got no good explanation for why it didn't work first time off the bat, and then why it did after I verified the game cache. Maybe literally there was a file that got corrupted during the installation process or something when I first downloaded it. It's possible. But yeah, following on from that, everything seemed to work fine as soon as I got into it. So yeah, this one is a pass, obviously, but it wasn't without bizarre issues. So next up, we have got Warhammer Chaosbane. It's not actually a game that I've had that much chance to play. I thought it was quite a neat idea when it came out. Played through the first level or so, and I think something like the Steam Deck would be quite nice to play a game, you know, like this that I haven't had chance to do. It seems to be sort of more suited to being a bit more, you know, pick up, put down type of gameplay. I might be wrong. I've not played enough of it to know. But yeah, this one is unsupported and doesn't work. And I can't find any good fixes for it online at all. So yeah, what can I say? It installs. You think it's running fine, and you'd get to the main menu where it says press enter, and you press a button, and then that's it. Locks up and does nothing. And it's one of those where I left it for a very long time. I reinstalled, verified game files, obviously off the back of doing Mordhau. Thought maybe that might fix things, but no, it's yeah, it will not work, and there's no good reason or obvious reason as to why. I'm certain that I looked on ProtonDB, and I couldn't find anything on there to make it work. So I'm a bit disappointed with this one, to be honest. It's one of those that I know it's not critically acclaimed necessarily, but it was one of those that I was hoping to give a good stab at in terms of maybe being one of the things that I would play on the deck. But yeah, there's clearly some work to be done here, and we'll see if it is ever worked on to get it working on the deck. But yeah, just a shame, I guess. Probably a bit less of a shame than Tekken 7, but certainly up there. And yeah, that's it. That's all I can say. If anyone knows of any workarounds, let me know. I'm happy to try this one again. But other than that, I have to leave that one there. I did leave that on for a little bit longer just so you could hear or see what was going on. So next one is Crysis, the original, not the remastered or anything. Now, I didn't think about this one beforehand as to why this one may not work, but it does you do have to install Punkbuster. It then obviously tries to get you to install Comrade. But yeah, this one just won't work, and it was really bizarre. Because I don't know, this is one of those ones looking at it that I thought may work, maybe with a little bit of either a fairly simple workaround or something along those lines. But no, couldn't get this one to boot up at all, even after doing the installation and everything else. So yeah, I don't know what else there really is to say. I don't believe it's an anti-cheat issue, although I'm not completely sure. I also had a look on ProtonDB, and I can't remember if there was a fix on there or if there was something that I couldn't do. I don't know why I installed Comrade, because why would you? I was trying to install it to Windows and C program files, and I thought, oh, that's not in there. But okay, I'll let it do its thing to see if it helps. Obviously, I'm not going to launch the blooming thing. I just don't get why they didn't remove that from the Steam installer, to be honest with you. But everything seemed to boot. Everything looked fine, and in this video, I've sort of been caught out in the idea that things are initially looking fine and looking as though they're going to work, and then when it comes down to it, you've either got the compromises or the issues like you've got in Tekken 7, or you've got like this one where you get a black screen. Quite a few people saying about they had a black screen on ProtonDB without any real fixes to that issue. And that was it, just hanged. on a black screen, or hung on a black screen. So yeah, that's basically all for Crysis, which not really too disappointed about. Obviously, there is the remastered version, which I'm not sure what that status is on the Steam Deck, but that probably has a much better chance of working. And unfortunately, on this theme, we're going to move on to the next game, which is Digimon Story Cybersleuth Complete Edition, or whatever it's called. Once again, another annoying one, really, I guess, because everything seemed to install properly and looked like it was working fine. But unfortunately, with this Digimon Story game, it ended up going to a black screen where you could hear the menu music and you could click around. And I thought, oh, maybe if I hit the right buttons and start up a game, it will, boot into life. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. It remained on a black screen, even though I managed to select something. I don't know what I ended up selecting, but I tried to, sort of select a new game. Maybe there's an issue with the UI loading or just the title screen, for example, which, while still would mean it was unsupported, may mean that you could technically still play the game. But no obvious fixes for this one, unfortunately. It's one of those that I have on my deck that's unsupported, of course. So it's one of the ones I wanted to try out, see if I get working. But yes, no, not at the minute. Although, if you're a big fan of the title music, you could install it just to listen to that. There's better ways of getting that music if that's what you want. So yeah, unfortunately, Digimon Story Cybersleuth does not work. And now moving on to Ashes of the Singularity Escalation. This one I couldn't get past the launcher. And there were a couple of people on ProtonDB talking about potentially setting it so it ignores the launcher, which I tried to add into the Steam command line extra properties bit. And unfortunately, it didn't seem to work for whatever reason, even though those commands usually do. So yeah, so I couldn't get past the launcher. Clicking on the launcher doesn't do anything. So I'm guessing that's why it's unsupported. Maybe there is a way of getting this one working, but safe mode didn't work. Playing the game didn't work. I did see something on there about, and this was obviously from quite a while ago, people having issues because it's a DX12 game. I mean, that shouldn't be an issue for the hardware in the Steam Deck, so I'm not certain if that would necessarily have fixed it, but it's definitely an oddity. Maybe it's a bespoke version of DX12. I know it's been one of the first sort of ones that was used as a benchmark for that type of use case or that type of API, but yeah, couldn't get it working, and there was no obvious fix for this one either. It's a pretty sad video so far, unfortunately, guys, but, hey, at least Mordhau's working so far. And now probably onto the worst one out of the lot. Dayz. Not only did it not work at all, it also would not uninstall either. At least not from the Steam OS. It was actually timing out the install process. I couldn't move it off of my drive. I couldn't move it onto the SD card. I couldn't uninstall it because it was giving me a hang error. And yeah, I ended up having to go into the Steam OS, loading up Steam and uninstalling it that way. And even then, I got a load of errors. So this game is by far best avoided. I'm not sure how many people are necessarily still playing Dayz. If you are, you're probably playing on a modded server like I used to, which would probably need a good amount of setting up on the Steam Deck, if it's even possible. Or, yeah, well, it would obviously be Windows 10. But, yeah, no. I would stay away from Dayz on the Steam Deck. I've had a bad experience with this one. The things I do for you guys, eh? But, yeah, just really weird behaviour from installing this game. And it may just have been a dodgy installation. I'm fully prepared to, think that could be the case. But yeah, Dayz not working at all. I just want to see what happened with it. I think it might have just crashed me back out to the main page, which seems to be a reoccurring theme recently with these unsupported ones. Oh no, okay, yeah, unexpected error. And an issue verifying the game in game cache and reinstalling it didn't help either. But the Steam Deck did allow me to do that. It just wouldn't let me uninstall it. On the same theme as Dayz, we're going to look at Arma 3. Good news, everybody. Well, sort of good news. I tried to get into an online game, but I'll be honest with you, I'm not really sure what I'm looking for nowadays. Good news is, though, it did try to install all the mods that I had picked on Arma 3 through Steam, so that's definitely helpful if you want to play on your normal online servers and what have you. But like I say, I didn't get a chance to test the online, but in terms of getting into the single player scenarios, it's more than possible. It actually runs surprisingly well, for as well as Arma 3 can run, because of course it is, not always been the most stable, but lots of... I've not really, to be honest with you, I've not played it since really the first 6 months in which it first came out, and I believe it's had a lot of updates since then. But yeah, there doesn't seem to be any issues with BattleEye on the Steam Deck, touch wood. So I'm not really sure as to why this one was necessarily marked as unsupported. Maybe it's, like I say, maybe it's something that's been picked up with the new Proton version, or yeah, something like that, since they first did the initial validation run on these games. But yeah, assuming that the online does work, like I say, didn't get a chance to test. I did try and join some online games, but it timed me out. But that could have just been because I picked the wrong scenario that people aren't playing. I don't know. I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. A little bit of a cop out, I know, but at least the game does run and function as I would expect in the single player mode. And I've got a bit more footage, so you can have a look at that. You can see me running around trying to shoot a tank and then driving a tank, for if that's something that interests you. But yeah, so luckily we get to end on a high note of one of the unsupported games working quite well. So in summary, just Mordhau and Arma 3 are the only ones I can really recommend. Technically, Tekken 7 does start, but it's not something you can play with any consistency, because from one round to the next, your control may not work at the minute. And yeah, because I happen on multiple occasions, it's also certainly not a one-off. So I'm struggling really to say that one works sufficiently enough to be able to use enjoyably on the Steam Deck, which is a shame for me. But yeah, I thought I would just leave it there. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video. The next one will be the last one. I don't have too many games for that particular episode, but I'm hoping that it will be at least interesting. Doubtful that it'll be successful, but there you go. Anyway, I'll leave you with the footage of me running around Arma 3, and yeah, let me know what you think. I'll see you all very soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye for now.